Hello, hello, hello. Still live is live. I have been unmuted. My camera is working, I think. Let's see what the chat says. Is there anybody here? Nobody here just yet. So let me see if I can add. Yes, it's 5 minutes late. Your viewers cannot see you. Show on stream. Okay, so put that in there. I'll show that one on stream. And nobody here just yet. What can I do? I can't show you that picture because it wouldn't upload for me. So share, let me put a slide on. Remove that one. We'll try again. Try anybody else here? I think somebody is here. Let's have a look. Just bear with me for a second. Let's just put on a chat for a minute. Let's have a look. Just bear with me for a second. I'm just sort of trying. I had to turn off my computer, and when I turned it back on again, it started to update itself. So that's why things are taking much longer than I expected them to. So let's see if this comes about. If it doesn't, I'm going to let it sort of process for a while, and I'll talk to you. All right. So who we got? Ah, Miles, how are you doing? You're looking very well again, I must say. I don't know what it is you're doing, but it's working. So how are you doing? You're the only one in so far? Ah, how are you doing? Martin. How did you get Xavier from Martin? Every time I look at it, I want to call you Xavier or something, or Xavier, whatever. But anyway, you're welcome. Nice to see you again. Well, you have to remind me where you're from. Miles, you're only down the road. But Martin, where are you viewing from? Am I coming through loud and clear? That's another thing I need to ask you. Give me a thumbs up or something. Yeah, I had awful problems with the computer. The computer started to, I mean, Windows. I normally use a Mac. On your work. Oh, yeah. Good. Bloody hell. It's amazing technology. Yeah, I normally use a Macintosh computer for my work, but Mac isn't actually very good for multi-camera videos and things. Yeah, great. Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, good, loud and clear. That's excellent, excellent. And right, so yeah, so I normally use Mac, but for video stuff, I use Windows. But Windows is an awful thing. It updates. So if it doesn't give you the choice, you could be in the middle of some task or in the middle of an important meeting, and it seems to want to update itself, right there and then, with no means of turning it off. So what happened was, I was uploading the picture that I'm going to paint from today, and I uploaded it, and it wasn't loading onto my screen. It's not. So I actually can't show you the photograph, which is a problem, I suppose. So you'll just have to sort of imagine it and trust me that I'm doing a good job when I paint it. Let me have a look, see if I can add this shared slide again. No, it's processing it. It's not. I'm not going to waste my time sort of looking at it. So I hope you've all had a good week. I spent the week at class, at least, showing people or demonstrating painting with knives, palette knives. Okay, so that's what I'm going to paint with this evening. See if I can put that up there a little bit. The one that I'm going to use mostly is that one. Not because it's particularly any better than that one. I've kind of grown used to this shape. I like it. it has, let's hold them up together again. Let's take that one away. So it has a point. I mean, that one has a point too. That's good. But it has this kind of oblique, flat blade here, a curved one here, and a slightly less curved one here. This one just has two flat blades. So, I mean, it really does make a difference. One of my students had one that was shaped like a printer's palette, I suppose, which is just squared off at the top like a chisel flat. Very, very, very springy, bendy. Nice ones. This one is De Laroni. This one's Van Gogh, which I think is Royal Talons. Same quality, really. This one, however, I got from a kind of what we call over here a pound shop called Mr. Price. I just saw a pack of them there, so I bought them. It was only about €7 or something, but it's very stiff, and I don't think it's as good. I don't think there's anything I can do about it either. So, yeah, you get what you pay for. That one wasn't very good. So I'm going to start out with that. Well, in fact, I'm going to start out with a brush. So I'm going to do my initial drawing and everything with a brush. And while I'm painting, this is the demonstration that I did today. Okay, so that is done. And if you had a look at my Instagram account, I've got a couple of close-ups of that. I'm not sure whether you can actually see. If I turn it slightly, you might be able to see some of the texture. I'm not sure whether that's coming out for you very well. But that's the one I'm going to paint. And I'm going to have to paint from it because I couldn't bring up the picture on the computer. The software just suddenly decided it wasn't going to play along anymore. So I'm going to paint a painting from my painting. Yeah, that's the way it is today. Right, so I'm going to start out with, there's my smallish brush. Tum-ti-tum-tum-tum. Where are we? Yeah, that one there. So for a small enough brush, so bring it in front of my face there. Who else do we have here? We have a third person in. It's all very intimate, isn't it? Anyway, I enjoy painting with knives, and it's very quick, and it doesn't allow you to get into detail. I mean, you could do a huge painting and get into the detail. That was an optical illusion. The further away back you are from the painting, it'll show, you know, the illusion of detail, I suppose. But at the size I'm painting, which is kind of A4, roughly, if you're from New York, magazine size, I suppose, in landscape. All right, so let's have a look. I'm going to click on that. Ooh. Is that the best way of doing it? Yeah, okay, so maybe I can swap that around. You see the way it's focusing? I can't do anything about that either. It's just going in and out of focus. Maybe when I start painting, it'll change. So if I click it again, I go back to that. How do I make that one the principal one, maybe? On screen. Just give me a minute. Can I make it the principal? And what happens then? No. Okay. All right. So, well, here goes anyway. Bloody technology. Maybe that's better, is it? I can go into that one. 3. That's quite good, isn't it? Will that be big enough? Probably not big enough. Why is it jumping in and out of focus like that? I'm sorry about this. It is really most unimpressive software. All right, so look, you can see my palette here, so I'll just explain it. Titanium white. This is slightly different from last week. Okay, so titanium white, cadmium yellow pale hue. That's the same. I've got yellow ochre as well because I want to make this a bit more subdued in its coloring. Okay, cadmium red, deep cobalt blue. That's the same as normal, and burnt umber instead of burnt sienna. Okay, so those are the colors I'm going to use. And I'm going to start out with a mix of blue and burnt umber. Okay, so I'm just going to go across there like that. Put this up here, up there like that. That's quite good. I'm going to endeavour to make this a bit more graphical than usual. Got to make sure I keep an eye on what you're saying to me, if you're saying anything indeed. Okay, here goes. So come down to there. We've got a pathway coming up there. A patch of green where that pathway bifurcates there. And we can put that there like that. Bit of dark there. Pull that up a bit. And then we've got that headland. This here is a spit of land coming out from, it's almost an island called Howth in Dublin Bay. And it has this bit of land here, and there's a lighthouse on the end of it there, and that's called the Bailey Lighthouse. And there, along there, is Dublin Bay. Okay, Dublin's a huge bay, very shallow water bay, and then there's a port behind this headland here, and there's another port a few miles away over here. So this here is kind of Dunleary direction, coming around into the centre of town, and then you get Dublin Port, and then it comes all the way around here, miles and miles of it, to Howth Head. It's a beautiful spot, beautiful collection of spots. And here's the Sugarloaf Mountain, and then a few more of the Dublin Hills and the Wicklow Mountains behind there. Okay, so what else we got? Got a dark coming in there. That part is dark there. I'm going to move that down a little bit. You've got to imagine when you're painting from a photograph that you're actually there. So it kind of helps if you have been to a place like you're endeavoring to paint from a photograph. It helps an awful lot. Okay, so there we go. What else we got here? All up here is a collection of heather and rocks and grass, very kind of tough coastal grass. Okay, I don't know what they call it really, like reeds almost. Okay, so there we got there, and there's the sea. Okay, so that'll do for the drawing. And so I'm going to use that one, and let's do this for a moment. Keep on. Every time I press the chat thing, it just jumps out and jumps back in again. How does that work? Come on. Oh, there we go. Ah, Miles, you said, do you know Nicholas de Styles' knife paintings? Really simple but striking. I've seen de Styles' paintings, all right. I haven't studied them. I have to say I need to do that a bit more. So I'm going to start out with some of these green areas. Okay, so I'm going to make, it would be much easier if we had there. I'm going to make a green from blue, put it over here, and burnt yellow ochre, I should say. That'll give me a sort of fairly decent green. You notice I've no black on the palette today either. Okay, so it's kind of a very sort of mucky, khaki kind of green there, which is what I want. I wanted those subdued colors, and I'm going to put those in random spots around there. So I'm not exactly sort of making sure that I'm being exact about this. Okay, putting there. You'll see in a minute anyway as I go along. So there, where I see green up, and I'm pressing on the paint, moving it around in a random fashion. There. And you use quite a lot of paint when you're using this technique. Okay, and then here we've got some, as that spit of land comes out towards the lighthouse. Okay. Now, I'm going to add some red into that green. Okay, red, just add a bit more red into that green. A bit more yellow too, but bright yellow in this time. So you get a kind of a brownish version of all that grass. This is what Ireland is like, especially around the coast. And in fact, most of Ireland, you can almost tell an Irish artist or painter from the colours that they use. Like that. I mean, Ireland's not known for its shades of green for nothing, you know. So in there, and now let's put in some really tan parts. So I'm going to mix some more yellow ochre. See, I want to keep away from the actual really bright yellow in favor of the yellow ochre. It's more earthy, makes for more subdued paintings. Okay, so along here and there. And you'll notice I put a wash on the canvas as well. So that was a burnt umber wash. Because if I didn't, I'd have lots of white poking through, and that you'd have to fill the whole canvas up. I mean, that's without a doubt. You couldn't leave sort of, you know, bright patches of white coming through, but you can see patches of burnt umber coming through here. Now I'm going to work on the pathway. So I'm going to grab some titanium white and put that in. Mix it up. I'm not going to over mix my colors either. So it allows for sort of variation. So if you don't mix it completely. Okay, so, and let's put in that. I've turned my my palette knife around a bit, so turned it that way, like a backhand table tennis player. Okay. Random patches, you know, blocks really. Up there like that. Now that was a bit of lumpy paint there. Get that off. Now I've got that part in. Now I'm going to turn my attention to the far away hills up there. And I'm going to make a slight kind of purplish color, cadmium red, deep and blue. I'm going to put in a little bit of yellow ochre as well. See what happens. So you get a kind of a slight purplish dark there, but I'm going to add white to it just to make it seem distant and pale. Yeah, that's not bad. So these areas here, I'll just there. Oh, sorry, no, it was the wrong one. That one. This is the one you're painting, Kevin. So along here, just going to put strokes down. You don't have to be super accurate here anyway, because you'll be modeling the painting into its final form. And you're using lots of paint, so you can cover up areas very easily. Just be mindful that you don't sort of keep going over the same area again and again and again, because you'll make mud. Okay, so now I'm going to make the sea. You see? So white and blue. just in order to keep a kind of cohesive look to the painting, I'm going to put in a little bit of yellow ochre again. So it's not just a bright blue and white mix. More white there. Make sure I've got plenty of paint. Don't over mix it. Okay, and then back to the painting. Every time I go change the scenes, I have to reach over and flick the thing over with my mouse. So here we go. See how quickly you cover areas. Yeah, you can. There, I'm just going to go up to the horizon, which meets those faraway hills. The hills sweep down to the sea in Dublin. And it's great because, like where I grew up in London. And anytime you wanted to go somewhere sort of nice and bucolic, you had to drive for miles and miles and miles through motorways. And especially when I was growing up, the motorways were sort of packed. They're probably even worse today. But in Dublin, you could sort of cycle out 20 minutes and you're in the country. Going up into the hills really is quite something. I don't think that enough locals realise what they've got. You can go and swim in the sea if you're brave enough. And I'm going to push that down there. Am I selling Ireland very, very well to you? Yeah. Let me just. Okay, so we've got some sea in there. Bring it into the land a little bit. And we've got texture as well. I'll show you that later. I want to do the sky now, okay? So I'm not going to do the sky in exactly the same mix. So I'm going to grab some white. Here we go. Grab some white. I'll put some more white in there. Blue too. Blue. Have a little white there. And I'm just going to grab in a little bit of the sea mix into it. A bit more blue. There, that'll do. And then I'm going to put that in, but not everywhere. I'm just going to leave myself some areas to put another mix. Because I want to have a kind of a multicolored sky anyway, different hues in the sky. And the sea as well, but we'll work it out when we get there. Okay, that's not bad. Yeah, I'm all up to the edges there. And now what I'm going to do is mix in a little bit of red, make a slight pink. I like having pinks in my sky. There. Okay, and I can put those in. Let me just do that again so you can see a bit better. Yeah, coming up very green on the screen again. I haven't been able to resolve that issue of color fidelity. There we go. Putting that, and I can start to shape my faraway hills now. Up there, down there. There we go. So I've got a few colors in there now. There. Okay. Back to another part of the scene. I'm going to put in some darks just below the green here. Let me see if I can sort of grab that, just to give that spit of land with the lighthouse on it some definition. And bring it out into the sea a bit more. And there. Okay, I'm going to lighten up the green on the top. It's a bit further away, it's slightly paler than the other greens closer to us. So I'm going to grab some very more yellowy paler mix and put that in. There. And let some of the texture speak as well. All right, so now we've got that. Now I want to lighten up that pathway a little bit more white into that yellow ochre mix and a bit more red into it as well. What's going on there? Oh yeah, okay. So I'm just putting some red into that ochre-y mix for the pathway. Oops. Keep doing that, don't I? Yeah, and then I want to get some color variation into that path. Get some nice texture up there. Let's make that even more ochre-y ahead of us. Up here. Oh yeah, it's nice. And what else have we got? We've got a bit across there. So the path could be moving around. Okay, so we're okay there. Now I'm going to work back into the green areas again, but I'm going to make the greens a lot redder. Or in fact, they're browny areas. There's a lot of red in green areas, more than you would expect. Let's put that. When you try to mix a green, always you should put a bit of red into it. Makes it more natural, and then you can sort of add in other reds as well. So we'll put some let's have a look. I'm kind of almost at the stage where I'm not looking at the photograph anymore, because I want to make this into the thing that's important, not the fidelity to the photograph. Okay, so there's that. Now, some other light, maybe some oranges would be nice in a. So add some yellow into that red mix there. That's a bright yellow I put in there, but I think it kind of needs some anyway. Because when you're looking at things, you know, you're looking at a scene, you're not registering every detail. You couldn't have the brain power to process it. So as an artist, you can sort of play with that and just make a confusion of colors. So I'm just resting the flat of the knife against the paint that's already on there. So don't disturb too much of the paint that's already there. So just get the illusion of plant-like texture. Okay, and now I want to get some really red areas. A Fauves knife painting would be fun. It would be fun. It would indeed. I suppose this is where this kind of all leads, isn't it? See, look at how red that is. God, it looks roaring red on the screen. It is quite red. All right then. Right. So now I'm going to put in some areas of red there, like that. Just working that flat of the knife against the paint that's already there. let's put in some. I want to sharpen up the edge of that hill. Do that with a bit of red, that's fine. Push it there, push that in. Now, let's get some darks in there again. So I'm going to grab some pure burnt umber. You don't need to see this because it's not a mix. It's just pure burnt umber. I maybe put a touch of blue into it because I want it to be dark. Okay, so I'm going to restate some of these darks now, just for clarity's sake. And the reason why I actually put this into my painting courses is because people have a tendency to be too, perfectionist, and it's better if you kind of lose control a bit, I think. Well, we've got some more darks down here. Might be a bad idea. Coming along there. Okay, and what else have I got? I can start sort of, I think I'm going to do a bit of color variation in the sea as well. So I'm going to grab some red and put it into that sea mix that I put. So it's slightly going on over to the pink side, just so it kind of corresponds with the sky. The very subtle variation. Oops. Wasn't subtle there, was it? Because it came off the, yeah. Put that there, like that. And also in here, I just need to fill that area there because that's the C2. Let's grab the sky. I've cleaned my palette knife off because I've noticed that I want to put some paint here. Yeah. It's nice to see where you can make the knife produce these lines. Maybe I'll try and show you when I've finished. Now it's refinement time, I suppose. So let's grab some of the green that's already there, kind of a these take a month of Sundays to dry as well, so don't if you're going to go out and paint in the field and you're going to bring a knife with you, you're probably, unless you've got a really clever means of getting the painting home, you can get paint absolutely everywhere. So I mean, I prefer to bring out acrylics if I'm going to be doing that, and then at least there'll be some way dry before you actually head for the ranch, if you know what I mean. So let me see I need to get a bit more dark in there as well. Fortunately, this is just going to be stacked up at the side wall of my studio for a while. Now, what I also want to do is start moving away from reality just a little bit by putting in some kind of purpley blue shadows, which are not there. It's just that I feel that the painting needs some kind of additional dimension, I suppose. Put them in there. It's a mixture of cobalt blue and what was it? Cadmium red, deep. Yes, you can see the pathway from painting sort of, how would you say, with fidelity to whatever you're painting through loosening up with palette knives, and then to abstraction, really, because the shapes start getting simpler, and you can see the path that they must have taken. Oh, there's a question. Let me have a look at that. Show on stream. Question from Martin. Do you mix brushwork with using? Oh yeah, well, lots of people have asked me that, and there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't mix the two. Absolutely none. I mean, it might sort of end up looking a little bit as if you've done just that. And if you want a kind of a cohesive painting, you might want to do the whole thing in knives. But there are no rules as far as I can see. I started off my drawing with a brush. You can get things down in general with a brush and then go to heavy paint with a palette knife, or you can go through the whole thing with the palette knife and just put in little details with the brush. But you might, I suppose, you might go against the reason you use palette knives in the first place if you start going in with tiny little brush strokes at the end. But there's nothing stopping you. I mean, there are no rules as far as I can tell, anyway. That's it. Yeah. So I suppose the thing is cohesion, isn't it? Is your painting going to look, how do you call it? Harmonious. I'm just putting in sort of these little sort of bluish details. Put some in around there. Make sure there's one coming along there. I would like to lighten my faraway hills. I think they're just a that bit too present in the picture. So let me just let me click that again. Take away Xavier's Martin's. How do you do that? Hide on stream. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's it. Right. When will I ever get used to all of this stuff? Maybe a little bit darker with that. They're quite distant at this stage, miles away. There we go. I want to adjust that Sugarloaf mountain there for a bit. Come down here like that. Okay. And then just readjust the sky. So just mixing up a little bit of white and blue just to This is the 5th time I painted this scene this week. I've gotten used to it now. Yeah. And I don't need to go on any further than that. So let's unveil it, I suppose. Take these off. This tape, by the way, is kind of like painters, like painter and decorators tape, called frog tape. It's low tack. It doesn't pull the surface off your paper. But even at that, you're still risking it. But it's better than the other, that kind of buff coloured stuff. Let's pull that back. There we go. And then the last bit of tape. Always enjoy this bit. There you go. Right, so let's see if I can bring it down below to my palette. And maybe I'll get a better picture of it. So grab that out of the way. Take this out of the way. And let's see if we get a better view of it. I'm not sure if you do. Well, a big, huge glare on it from the lights. But let's see if I can sort of show the texture by tipping it. There you can see that. Thank you, Miles. Yeah, look at that. So there you go. So, I mean, it is a small enough painting, isn't it? Look, there's my hand. So there you go. That was very quick. I think it feels as if it was very quick anyway. Let me try that one, see if that's any better. There's lots of glare in the studio from all the kind of studio lights that I have. Okay. So it's a great way of loosening up. That's what I feel about it, and it's very satisfying. And the thing is, right, I had 10 people in my class today, and over the week 30 people, and not one of them did a bad job. And it's really great. Of course, they all said that they didn't. Everyone likes everyone else's paintings, but the point is, I thought they all did a bang up job getting these paintings done. It's very satisfying, and it's also a lovely way to feel the paint. You feel the paint more, the butteriness of the paint more when you're using a knife than you do when you're using a brush, I think. So yeah, I really like these things. And you know, if you want to paint a big painting, you can get a huge. I have one somewhere. I can't put my hand on it at the moment. It's a big, huge artist palette knife. I'm going to use it during the summer. I'm going to go bring it with me. Go down to Kerry or somewhere and paint the scenes down there, which are wonderful. Yeah, the textures. Hey, Project, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, the textures are something that you can't get in photography, aren't they? So as painters, we should use them as much as we can. So that said, does anyone have any other questions? The other thing is, I suppose, in the matter of expense as well, it's kind of an expensive way of painting because you use a lot of paint, and you end up wasting a lot as well on the palette. So unless you're going to be continuing directly with another painting, you might lose a lot of paint. So I tend to use these Winsor Newton Winton colors, which are they're student quality, but they're good. And I stand over them, and I get my students to use them. You know, and that way you can get more bang for your buck, I suppose. And because you're putting on the paint so thick, you don't have the issue of low pigmentation that you might get in really cheap brands. So that's it. And then you can always finish off with the best quality paints. Unless you're rich. If you're fabulously wealthy, that's grand. 30 euros for a small tube of cadmium yellow. It's not going to go far in a palette knife painting scenario. There you go. So yeah. So any questions? Who's that? You're too cheap at the moment. Yeah. God, you're telling me things are getting awfully pricey, aren't they? Yeah. So that's it. This will load itself automatically up onto YouTube. I suppose I should do one. I could record paintings directly into my computer, and then you get for me anyway, the best quality. But then you don't get to talk to people or have them sort of chat to you on the chat. So I do have I have some high quality ones posted up on YouTube, and I have a course as well, sort of so on. You'd think I'd know, wouldn't you, since it's my course? I can't remember what it's called. Isn't that terrible? I'm such a hopeless businessman. I'll never make it in this world. So that's it. So have a lovely evening, and I hope to see you next week. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing next week, but you'll see. Oh, the figure. Oh, Miles, why did you have to bring that up? I used some of my daughter's, what do they call it? Fiber clay or something. I mean, as it dried, it cracked. I'm going to fill it. I'm going to get around to it, but that's a common thing in my studio. Some things take months or years to complete, but I will do it. I never usually abandon projects. It's just that I can buy a project, have a lovely week. Yeah, I never abandon or seldom abandon projects. They just take ages to do, I think. And suddenly I'm kind of off, other commissions to do and other projects. I take on too many projects as well. That's another sort of, string to my sort of series of unfortunate traits. So there you are. Have a lovely one, and I'll see you next week. Cheerio.